Rather than lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. We are going to be discussing Lautaro Martinez to Arsenal is now possible after Paulo Dybala is linked closely to joining Inter Milan. Inter will be selling. I'll tell you more about that. I'm going to tell you about Julian Brand and Arsenal wanting a backup number 10 in the summer. Smart transfers, smart moves. We want to. We will talk about Darwin Núñez and Cody Gakpo in regards to our summer. Aaron Hickey talks with Bologna, Arsenal, and the player ongoing, and of course we'll discuss Gabriel in this episode as well. Do me a huge favor. Hit the like button if you want to help me to become the biggest channel in Africa for Arsenal. You've got to hit the like button, and you've got to also subscribe. So make sure you hit the like button. Let's get this video to 250 likes, please. Let's get that done. Now, in today's quiz, I've asked you an easy question. I've said Arsene Wenger is the most successful manager in the history of the FA Cup. Now, we know that. Everybody knows that. He's won more FA Cup trophies than any other manager. But the question is, how many FA Cup trophies did Arsene Wenger win? A, 14, B, 6, C, 5, and D, 7. How many FA Cup trophies did the Gaffer win at Arsenal? 14, 6, 5, or 7? Let me know in the comments below. But like I told you, he's the most successful manager in the FA Cup, and he's the most he's won it more than any other managers. Let's get to the transfers. Let's get to the content. Let's start off with Mikel Arteta. Of course, if you've not seen the story, yesterday Mikel Arteta penned his contract, 3 more years at Arsenal, and he was actually, I think the epitome of that was the fact that the Cronkies came out and said, "This is our manager, and we are going to back him." Josh Kroenke, Stan Kroenke, Josh Kroenke is speaking on behalf of Stan Kroenke, his father, and Kroenke Sports and Entertainment. He came out and said, "We are going to be backing Mikel Arteta." I do have a full video about the Cronkies and how they and what they promised this summer, so it will be dropping very soon today. But Josh Kroenke coming out again and reinforcing the message that they are behind Edu, Mikel Arteta, Vikatesha, and all the people running the daily business at Arsenal, and they are willing to support Mikel Arteta and take the project that he wants, that he's running, in the direction that he wants it to go. So Arsenal fans, I do not know whether this is a time for us to be excited or worried. After Mikel Arteta signing 3 more years, will they continue to back him? Will they continue to promise? Will they continue to fulfill their end of the bargain? The fans have actually done that. We've backed the team, we've backed the players, we've backed the manager. Can we now see Arsenal being backed by the stingy Cronkies? If that happens starting this summer, probably. Why not? So of course, Mikel Arteta signed his contract yesterday. That is done, dusted, and official. Now, in the transfer market, Arsenal are really doing some business. We have already started trying to pull off some moves before even May ends, before the season starts, before the season ends. Aaron Hickey is in talks with Arsenal. Now, Arsenal approached the player, that is Aaron Hickey. Is a 20-year-old Scottish left back playing with Bologna in Italy. Arsenal have approached the player, and talks are ongoing, according to what I've seen, between Arsenal, Bologna, and the player. Arsenal would love to bring in Aaron Hickey as a young understudy to Kieran Tierney, who's becoming very unreliable and injury prone. We also want someone who can provide cover and a backup to Tomiyasu as well. Now, I think, listen lads, I think this would be a smart move for Arsenal to do, because what we want in the summer, we want a left back. Obviously, what has happened this season has shown us that we are a little bit susceptible and we are vulnerable, especially when Kieran Tierney is away. And you cannot guarantee at any point in a season, you cannot guarantee that Kieran Tierney is going to play for you 35 games per season, per campaign. He's not that durable. He's that good as a player when he's around. He's very important. He's got the charisma. He's got the attitude. But the problem is that he cannot play as many games as required. So you need someone who can actually give you that, give you that trust. You can trust in him, and that's why Arsenal have gone for Aaron Hickey. Of course, we've been also linked with Tino Livramento at Southampton, but the problem with Tino is that he suffered a long-term injury and his season has ended. We do not know when he's going to be back, and I don't think Mikel Arteta would want to risk Arsenal fans and his project by signing in a player who is now on injury. Now, for me, that's a big blow to our transfer plans. I think I've not really seen much about Aaron Hickey to judge him, but I think Tino Livramento would have been the better option for Arsenal to bring in a player who's played in the Premier League, a player who I think is a little bit more solid and also very, very good going forward. He's had a wonderful campaign at Southampton. So going back to Aaron Hickey, I think Arsenal want to bring in someone who can cover both the left and the right wing back, the right wing back positions. If any of the players, if any of the senior members of the team is actually out. And that is what Aaron Hickey can do. He can play on the left. He can also play on the right. It appears that Arsenal might not be going for players like Jed Spence. We might bring back probably Brook to cover at right back. But then we are going to be bringing in someone who's a little bit versatile to cover on the left and also to cover on the right. And that man could be none other than Aaron Hickey from Bologna. Talks ongoing. Nothing is agreed. No personal terms are agreed. No fee are agreed. The fee wanted by Bologna is in the region of 20 million euros. Napoli still in that race, very, very much alive. And of course, a couple of other clubs in the Premier League that I've seen are also interested. So let's wait and see where that one is going to end up. Now, Arsenal have been granted and gifted a huge opportunity to sign Lautaro Martinez come this summer. Inter Milan are very close to signing Paulo Dybala on a free from Juventus. Arsenal have been in that race very, very much to get Paulo Dybala, but it looks like the player wants to stay in the Italian Serie A, wants to go to a big club like Inter Milan in Italy. And I don't blame Paulo Dybala. It would be easier, it would be better to stay in Italy. And Inter Milan at the moment, in my opinion, is a very, very, very good club, especially if you want to stay in and around Italy. Juve, Inter Milan, and Napoli. Those are the three clubs I would really suggest that every player should actually play for. So according to the latest, Paulo Dybala is almost 99% complete to join Inter Milan. Inter are now set to sell Lautaro Martinez, provided the right offer is going to be tabled on the table. One thing I'm going to say about this one is, I think Arsenal, we have always wanted our chance. We've already waited patiently for our chance to get such a huge signing. Last summer, of course, Fabrizio Romano did come in and say that Arsenal wanted to bring in Lautaro Martinez. However, the project was not yet there, was not yet at that level where the big players could believe in it, could trust it. Now I think Arsenal have elevated their project to that level where every player, not probably every player, but where big players can say, okay, I can't join this project if you're going to promise me A, B, C, D. So Lautaro Martinez, huge update for Arsenal. The moment Paulo Dybala crosses over to Inter Milan, they'll be okay to sell Lautaro Martinez. Arsenal is in that race with Manchester United. I would love to see what's going to happen in the summer. Are we really going to get him, or is it just, an opportunity that is going to pass by? But of course, we're not the only club interested in Lautaro. Atletico Madrid are interested. You have United interested, and a couple of other clubs. Of course, that's a huge opportunity. They will be selling, provided the right offer comes in. All Arsenal need to do is get that 75 million euros and place it on the table for Inter Milan. Now, we want also a backup number 10. Arsenal are looking for someone who can be an understudy to Martin Odegaard, and we are looking at Julian Brandt. Back in the news. Look, my thoughts about Julian Brandt have never changed. I think he's a really exciting player. We've seen him with Dortmund this season. It's been really, really exciting. But my question around him is that he's 26. He brings a lot of maturity, brings a lot of squad depth and everything like that. But if we are looking at an understudy to Martin Odegaard, of course, he brings the competition that you want to play like Odegaard. That kind of tension which would actually push him to develop further, create more for the team, and do all those things. But 26 years of age in Julian Brandt, I think Arsenal could do better than that. I think, in terms of an understudy to Martin Odegaard, who is 23 at the moment, we need to bring in someone who's around 20, 21. Someone, in the same age bracket. Someone who actually will develop with this project, and probably at any point in time, if Odegaard decides to walk, if Odegaard decides to move away from the club, probably do a transfer, then that player, steps in right away, just like Liverpool have done with Fabio Carvalho from Fulham. But the story is that Arsenal are interested in Julian Brandt. They would love to bring him to the club this summer as a backup number 10. Obviously, with Champions League, Europa League, whichever competition we're going to be playing in, we desperately need more players. We need to make our squad bigger, and we need to have that extra layer of quality. I think Julian Brandt, for me, is a player who can win you a game without thinking about Martin Odegaard, and he can play in those big games. Can play in he can play at every level. He can play every level, every level of a team. He can play those big teams. Can play for those small teams. It can definitely give you that feeling of, without Martin Odegaard, Julian Brandt is available. So of course, Arsenal are interested in Julian Brandt. Not the first time we've been linked with the player. Let's see what comes out of that. Now, Arsenal are also in talks with the agent of Darwin Núñez. Arsenal believe they can still sign Darwin Núñez provided we end up in the UEFA Champions League. Manchester United is said to be the preferred destination of the player. However, it looks like Arsenal are not just giving up. That's why we're actually tracking Lautaro Martinez, thinking that if Darwin Núñez actually doesn't come in, then it's going to be Lautaro Martinez. But of course, the question there is still about Di Marzio. Di Marzio said he will be joining the Premier League. He'll be joining a project that needs a striker. United need a striker. Arsenal need a striker. Where will Darwin Núñez end up in the summer? We've been told he doesn't care about the money, which I think is absolutely wrong. I think the money will have a big part to play in where he goes. His ambitions to play in Europe and the kind of manager that will be managing him, all those will have a great part to play in where he goes and where he plays come next season. Gabriel Jesus' price keeps on rising and rising. Manchester City are set to demand more than 40 million in the player. Now, of course, it is coming off the recent form that the player has been having. It's been really, really good for them. It's been really, really on fire for them. And they believe this is the time for them to ask for more than 40 million. Honestly, at 40, I said we can pay that, but more than 40 for a player whose contract is running down, I don't think Arsenal should be fooled that much. We can go and get Victor Osimhen at 100 million, and then we can get in someone like Cody Gakpo at less than 45 million euros and get that striking line sorted. So Gabriel Jesus, I still think that transfer to Arsenal will happen, but for more than 40 million, I think Manchester City are really trying to exploit us in that regard. And lastly, we are also tracking, and also we're still tracking Cody Gakpo. This summer could be this season. Sorry, could be the last one he plays for PSV. Arsenal are really, really seriously pushing for the young man. So probably in the summer we could see Arsenal go in and get Cody Gakpo. That's it in this morning episode. Love you, and I'll speak to you in the next one. But of course, in the quiz, the question is, how many FA Cup trophies did Arsene Wenger win for Arsenal? And I've given you a couple of options there, as you can see: A, 14, C, 5, B, 6, and then D 7. Obviously, like I said, he's the most successful manager in the competition history. And one thing you have to know is that Arsenal are the overall, not really overall, but we are the record holders of the number of we are the record holders of the FA Cup, right? So we have won it more than any other club. So exactly how many did Arsene Wenger win? And I'll speak to you in the next one.